Today we are going to discuss about the main characters from the famous novel of Charles Dickens, Hard Times. The main character of the novel Hard Times is Bitzer. Bitzer is a classmate of Tom, Lucia, and Sissy. As a young adult, he works as a clerk in the Bounderby Bank. Bitzer is one of the successes produced by the graduate realistic system of education. Initially, he was a bully at graduate school. Bitzer later becomes an employee and a spy at the Bounderby Bank. The second character of the novel is Stephen Blackpool. He is a power loom operator in the Bounderby Bank. He is married young and his wife has since become a raging alcohol and she keeps wandering in and out of his life. Stephen is in love with another factory worker whose name is Rachel, but can't be with her because she cannot get a divorce. After being framed for a bank robbery, Stephen ends up dying from falling into a giant hole in the ground. When returning to Corktown to defend his honor about the robbery, Stephen falls into a pit and injures himself. He is rescued, but he eventually dies in the novel. The next character in the novel is Mr. Joshua Bounderby. He is a successful capitalist who owns a factory and a bank in the Corkwood. Bounderby is one of the central characters of the novel. He is a business accountant of Mr. Thomas Gradgrind. He employs many of the characters in the novel and is very wealthy. He always brags about having grown up an orphan and he marries Lucia Gradgrind, hoping to make her a trophy wife. But their marriage eventually ends up in the middle of the bank robbery investigation. Bounderby's true identity is revealed too much to his shame, and in the end, his wife leaves him. Story about his childhood turns out to be lies, and he dies of a fit in the streets. In the novel, Bounderby is an emblem of hypocrisy. Lucia Gradgrind is the novel's principal female character. She is distinct from the novel's other women, particularly Sissy and Rachel. While these two women embody the Victorian ideal of femininity, sensitivity, compassion, and gentleness, Lucia's education prevented her from developing such traits. She is the eldest of the graduate children and the prized pupil of educational system. When she grows older, her father arranges her marriage to Mr. Bounderby. Lucia is silent, cold, and seemingly unfeeling. However, Dickens may not be implying that Lucia is really unfeeling, but rather that she simply doesn't know how to recognize and express her emotions. Throughout her life, Lucia is very unfulfilled because she was forced to deny her emotions. She has an emotional breakdown after being tempted into infidelity by Mr. Harthouse. Her marriage with Bounderby is soon dissolved and she never remarries. The next character is Mr. Thomas Gradgrind, a wealthy retired merchant in the Corktown, England. He later becomes a member of the parliament. Mr. Gradgrind is an intellectual founder of Gradgrind educational system. He represents the rigor of the hard facts and statistics. It is only after Lucius' emotional breakdown that he has a change of heart and becomes more intellectually accepting of enterprises that are not exclusively dedicated to profit or fact. Mrs. Gargid is the ignorant wife of Thomas Gargid, Winnie Amenick, who constantly tells her children to study their ologies and complains that she'll never hear the end of any complaint. Although Miss Gradgrind does not share her husband's interests, in fact, she lacks energy and imagines to oppose his system of education. She is the mother of Lucia, Tom, and other Gradgrind children. In the middle of the novel, Mrs. Gradgrind dies.